Bizarre Brain Comics. Hello, my comic book friends, and welcome to Bizarre Brain Comics. I am Gary, your host, and this is where I like to take a look at some older comics, talk a little bit about the characters and creators, and examine the stories and the art. This time, I want to take a look at Superboy number 85. This is from DC Comics 2001. This is the Kon-el or Connor Kent version of Superboy. And this is one that was created in a lab after the death of Superman. And one I'm not as thrilled with. I like the idea better, but I wasn't as thrilled with the execution of it. After Superman came back and this started this run of Superboy, I followed it with the first few issues. I don't think I have them anymore, and I enjoyed it. That's when he was in Hawaii and stuff. But then, I got away from it, mostly expense wise, and I enjoyed it. And then it just went off into this weird kind of tangent stuff, and he got even more childlike and immature and stuff, which is actually understandable. And this is written by Joe Kelly with pencils by Pascual, Ferry, and inks by Keith Champagne. Okay, and Superboy, also known as Kon-el or Connor Kent, is a modern variation on the original Superboy character from DC Comics. He first appeared in Adventures of Superman number 500 in 1993. And he was created by Carl Kessel and Tom Grummett. I liked their version of him. And he was a genetically engineered metahuman clone produced by the Cadmus Project, which is a creation of Jack Kirby, as a replacement for the then dead Superman. But he was released before fully matured, because they were growing him to maturity. He was being educated electronically, and if I remember correctly, he was released by the clones of the Newsboy Legion, if I remember correctly. In 2003, it was retconned that he was a human Kryptonian binary clone made from the DNA of Superman and Lex Luthor. Both Kryptonian and human names were honorarily bestowed on him by Superman and Martha Kent, giving him a family and a home in Smallville. That part is all after this. And his powers are different from Superman, namely, aside from flight, is his tactile telekinesis, and which is from part of a force field around his body, which is also what protects him, gives him his virtual invulnerability. He's not by no means as invulnerable as Superman, and it doesn't work the same way as we actually see in this book. Now, this is Superboy and Batgirl. I guess he had a lot of them. Now, initially, if I recall, when the character was introduced in the Superman titles, he came out, he was a clone, but he was supposedly approximately 16 years of age, physical maturity. And of course, he was artificially educated during the cloning process. But of course, as is understandable, he is an immature individual. Like, he doesn't have the 16 years of experience behind him to learn and grow and become more and dealing with emotions and stuff and impulsivity, etc. which is extremely understandable. But I wasn't totally thrilled with him because he was very self-centered, which again is actually understandable, and immature. But then as it progressed, he got more immature instead of getting more mature. As it progressed, he got more immature, and I don't know if and the artist's interpretation of him got younger, because here in '85, issue '85, I would say he's 14 to 15, but probably about 14. That's the way he looks as he's drawn. But here, just a couple issues later, this is done by what was his name? Paco Medina, and both of these artists are more slightly cartoonishly stylized. But this one more so. This guy Medina, he's a fine artist, and I kind of like his work, but I don't. But it simply doesn't fit. I don't think his style has fit anything that I've ever seen him draw, and is a little too cartoonish. And here he looks about 13, so he seems to be getting. And then of course later he grew more mature. So when he just was staying with Martha Kent, living with Martha Kent, and just wore the black T-shirt with the family crest on it. That's when he became more mature, and he dealt more with the Titans, etc. So this is the juvenile, very very juvenile Superboy. As I said, this is from 2001, I think is what it was. I think is what I said. And here we start right off. He's in Gotham with Robin, Tim Drake. Apparently they're kind of buddy. And so and they're just kind of hanging out looking for stuff, I guess. And Superboy has cobbled together a makeshift Batman costume with this box on his head with bat ears and something as a cape. And he's great Scott, little chum, my bat senses is going berserk. Hand me the bat omnidirectional magnifying lenses. It's actually making fun of the Batman TV series. And Robin said, "Shut up." That's kind of funny. And he's kind of goofing around. He's getting word from Robin is getting word from Oracle, and he's more of a pest. He's mostly pestering Robin, and is getting word from Oracle that got to go someplace, which is where Batgirl comes in. I don't know if this is like tied into a storyline from the Batgirl, because just a couple months or so ago, I did an episode on an issue of Batgirl. It's this version. I can't remember her real name. She was an Asian girl trained as an assassin, and she's a Batgirl. She has problems with English. I guess she understands it okay, but she has difficulty speaking, so she's mostly silent. And if I remember correctly, she later becomes a Bat villain. But anyway, so I don't know what's going on with these strange-looking people. She's being overpowered. Robin and Superboy get there, and they kind of clean house. And Superboy making ridiculous quips constantly. Boom, boom, boom. Fight, fight, fight. Fight, fight, fight. And he said, now for the cold shower. And then Robin mentioned something, a smoldering stink of some. Superboy, wait! And of course, the impulsive kid can't. He is too impulsive, and all these strange people, whatever they are, they get wet. And he says they had sodium in their blood, pure sodium, and when mixed with water, kablooey. I think it would have done it just being in their body in the first place. But still, they all kind of blew up. Talk about Walking Dead. Batman needs to be in on this, and he's communicating with bats on their over the radio, and Superboy is using a scrap of fabric to wipe his face off, and they say, hey, this is has the mark of a certain gang on it. So, and he talks to Batgirl, and so while Robin's talking to Batman and Batman says, wait here, turns around and they're gone. they're gone. I won't even talk about that one because it doesn't matter. And they take off. They know where to go based on that info. One of the gang gangbangers and shredded the demon's jacket, and they know where to go to headquarters there, and they get there, and of course he is just talking and pestering, and he would you just want to slap the crap right out of him because he jabbers so much, and so she uses him and his tactile telekinesis to open the door, which is booby-trapped, as she suspects, using him as a shield, and he goes kablooey, and he's just slightly stunned. And then he's surprised when she goes, focus, and somehow she gets inside his protective force field and smacks him good right in the face. And then they go and say, all kinds of weird stuff. What's all the fairy dust? And then poof, they're gassed. It's some kind of knockdown, have like a slight hallucinogenic effect there. And then they come to, and they are trapped by Dr. Sin. I don't know who Dr. Sin is, but... And drugs, a fusion of... so what did you do to me? Drugs, a fusion of psychotropic and soporific agents leached through the skin or lungs via transdermal carrier medium. It's potent. And so he jabbers, and he asks a couple questions, and just getting Superboy to start talking. And then, as the deadly, he's basically testing them. And then in the chamber where they're tied up, of course, he can't focus enough to bring his stuff to bear. He's gotten around that somehow. Gotten around his tactile telekinesis, which explodes things, takes things apart, and their chamber is filling with water, and he's blabbering, and he says, "Please talk," she says, and he talks and talks and talks and talks and talks and talks and talks, and until finally they're underwater, and he said, "I wish I got to see Nirvana before Cobain died. I wish that I got to be a Superman. I wish I had parents," which is all that is. So it's showing a bit more of his character and how his bluster and his gab is as much a front as anything. Now they're holding their breaths because he's not invulnerable to drowning like Superman is. And finally, we see Dr. Sin watching them and observing them, and Batgirl, she manages to get something, and he just goes, to talk for focus, but it was to get Dr. Sin to focus on Superboy while she was getting something out. That's it. Out of her belt, and getting her one hand loose and tossing something, and then kaboosh! Sin, yes! Something it allowed Superboy to focus and get his tactile telekinesis to work and freeing them just in time. Sin go gone. Stop. Breathe. That's Batman. Dr. Sin is already gone. Superboy was able to focus enough to save him and Batgirl, and he's got a little kind of fancies Batgirl a little bit. And then, okay, lucky, you're lucky and stupid. And Batman's very, very gruff. There's Robin imitating him, his stance and everything. And he's got a punishment for Batgirl because she was supposed to wait, and we don't specify what it is. I guess it's to go out and fight more crime, I guess. And tells Superboy to leave, get out of Gotham, and he says, "Wait, you can't punish her, or just not her, because I'm at fault too. It's as much my fault as it was hers, and maybe even more so. Yada 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 yada." And he says, "Fine, you to do her punishment too. So, hey, don't think twice. Ain't no thing but a chicken wing, you know." And so they do whatever the actual punishment is together, and he kind of fancies her a little bit because hey, he's a teenage boy, she's an attractive young woman. What would you expect? And here's with Dead Man, and you might be able to see it's even more cartoonish. His style just does not really fit the more serious. See, and here you can see what I mean. He looks about 12 there, 12 or 13, and he's but this artist, like I said, he's a fine artist as well. He is a fine artist, but I think his style fits humor or humor adventure better than the more serious tone of most of the superhero genre, even though Superboy is loaded with humor, mostly because he's a dipshit. So that's all I have to share with you this time. I did enjoy reading these books, but the stories are not as well crafted, I think, overall, as even the old hokey ones. Or I really liked the Superboy from the all through the 70s and 80s, and even though, well, I have problems with it too, but the stories were, I think, overall much better crafted, even though sometimes they were on the silly side. So that's all I have to share with you. Please like, share, subscribe. Do leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think of this version of Superboy. What do you think of the Kon-el Superboy, etc., compared to the Clark Kent Superman as a boy Superboy, or anything else that you may want to comment about. Thank you, and remember, comics are art.